the disruption here on the Shadow Demon. This time for Brame, I mean, this time it is actually still a position 4.
Almost trust you.
So it's going to be looking good. The only thing I had to tag on to the end of that little draft analysis that was so excellently done by Aoi, Shiver, and Trent, of course, was that although we don't have like a great setup for Mirana, it's always something to consider when you do pick yourself the Shadow Demon, that you will be setting, sometimes yourself or your allies up for these stuns like a Mirana Arrow, like a Split Earth, like an LSA. But we need something to proc the disruption, right? Because obviously, Snowman is not just going to walk up and, Astral Imprison, or sorry, Astral Imprison. He's not just going to disrupt himself in the middle of a team fight for fun. We need someone to like blink in front of him and kind of spook him. I don't know if we really have those kinds of heroes though on Tundra to kind of like proc a response, if that makes sense to you, right? Like, where do you want to disrupt someone? Sure, obviously if they get hit by a lasso, but other than that, it's like, do you really want to disrupt someone after a tornado? Maybe, but then you just set up for more, invoker combos. It's going to be, I think, a little bit of a tough game for Snaking. But hey, he excelled last time in the Clockwork game, and I think he's going to be able to ride a lot of momentum into his Mirana performance for game number 2.
I understood that as the lane has no setup for the arrow, because I would say that in the mid game you definitely have the Invoker as your setup for the arrow. If he's Claws Wex, Tornado set the setup for the arrow. I think that's fine. I don't think you need any more. I mean, it's a bit difficult if you're not good at Dota, but it's snaking Mirana, so I don't
That's
think
a good point.
Problem.
That's a good point.
Cold Snap is
We'll
somewhat of a
see.
setup for the arrow, at least for Drow or TA, right? Well, TA no, because Refraction usually protects from Cold Snap, but most heroes that don't have a save, unless Shadow Demon is there, you can always go and hit the arrow there. I don't think it's going to be too difficult for the Mirana. I mean, I still remember the tweet where, like, PPD was complaining about the fact that people were saying Mirana's like a really difficult hero, and PPD's like, I just went, 9-3 on Mirana, first time playing her in forever. Ooh, what a difficult hero. Those arrows, they're not that. You don't need it that much of a setup. Only in lane, I think, is where it matters the most, where arrows are much more obvious. There's obviously a clear idea as to what you want to do, and the best thing Bat can do is flame break you into the arrow, which 3-3 certainly could do. Its Bat's pretty great, but it's not the easiest thing.
All right, we'll see here. We shall see. Oh, there's arrow number 1 into the face of Spartan, as he's already showing off, hey, I don't need no setup. I'll just let Spartan walk into all of my arrows. Down bottom, Fata is going to get disrupted here, but with the Aphotic Shield only, Stamana's not going to be able to bother him too much. But we've at least interrupted the creep pull to make sure that we're going to be able to get full experience for both cores.
You are a Viper with 275 movement speed. I don't think you're going to be able to avoid those arrows too much. But Snaking's like, I'd rather farm. Why hit the Viper and harass him when I can take a creep? And he's bringing the way for 3-3. I do agree with the panel that the Batrider seems to have a pretty free game. It's like a really, really, really good Batrider game. So, if Invoker wasn't such a good mid, if you could flex him at all, I would have even put him mid and destroy the TA in the process. But I just don't think you can run an Invoker any position that's not mid, really.
Do you think there's ever like a concern? Because it's like a very target-rich environment here for the Batrider, right? Like obviously you absolutely stomp the TA, not just in lane, but generally, and same thing here to the Timbersaw. But these aren't like heroes that stand on top of each other in fights, right? They're in very different parts of the fights. And the Drow Ranger, of course, you also can destroy. So doesn't it feel like a little bit target-rich here, even too target-rich perhaps for 33 this game? Like how do you prioritize who to jump and win? I mean, obviously, you don't jump Drow first in the game, right? First, you're going to be looking to shut down a Timber at his peak, but I feel like at some stage, there is some crossover here with the 3 cores we have for Brame where this might be an issue.
I mean, I feel like most of the time, maybe early you do target the Timber a bit, but once Timber becomes too tanky, your target should always be the win condition in question. So either Drow or TA, depending on who is a bit stronger at that moment, or who you think is going to become stronger at that moment. And for the Timber, you just deal with it with the Invoker. Cold Snap is really good against Timber Chain for obvious reasons, because you can never really cast it unless he has some way of protecting himself against the damage of the vessel or the urn, depending. The Tornado and EMP is a great way to deal with Timber as well, to ignore him. You can even, I don't know, get an arrow against him and ignore him. That way, TB can burst him down. It just really depends. So I do feel like most opportunities going to be either Drow or TA they're going to be killing. Sometimes maybe even the Shadow Demon to prevent that save, because he can't save people from the lasso with instruction.
Lark there. He's going to be able to escape the Metamorphosed TB. Just needed that one extra auto attack. Samana was there to make sure it didn't happen. 9 already CSing underneath this tier 2 tower versus Wish. I guess it's really Wish who's ventured beyond the tier 1 tower here. The lane is ended up in a bit of an awkward spot here, but it'll resettle there in the river after this wave. Bottle sips for TA, so far so good. TA, as we'd expect, you know, you're able to hold your own. The Invoker doesn't really have a whole lot of kill threat on you unless you rotate a couple of more supports on over to get the job done. That might be the time then maybe Snaking's Q as in he goes to the mid lane at the 4-minute mark, but this time he's not going to be successful in stopping Wish from bottling up that water rune.
Yeah, I mean, right now you know that Brame is just going to be able to take a really solid lane, at least mid, right, and have a good time with the TA. You're probably not going to try to put too much pressure until the Invoker comes online, or maybe even the Bat Rider, right? I think that's actually why I like Snaking's strat. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's just been taking the big creeps in a bunch of the safer camps. Kind of reminds me of when, you know, Cartman from South Park takes the skins off the KFC. It's kind of like that, you know, you take the great parts and then you're left with the scraps. He sees stacks, doesn't care, take the big creeps on the stacks, and then it feels bad to farm him with TA. So it's actually a pretty good solution to this.
Yes.
And actually even gets a kill. Snaking, I mean, so clean. Look at this. He even Starstorm, he's going to die. Sloman is not going to save himself no matter what. They even use Reflection trying to get the kill, but Snaking deserved it.
33. He's, I don't know if he deserved that one. Focus sure thought he did for daring to pile up the 6 stacks of the napalm on him. So it's going to be at least a kill in return. Down bottom, Skylark is going to be fine. He's up to the high ground. Up in the secret shop where he's going to be nice and safe. No, yeah, I mean, you're completely right. You know, to go back to the just removing all the good parts about it, right? It's like licking all of the seasoning off of a chip and then putting it back in the bag. Now, what's the point? Thinking, though, they're going to punish him for that. Says, excuse me, that's extremely unsanitary. They have now got the 3 stacks of the Shadow Poison. They're going to need a little bit more, and some fancy footwork here is going to get Snaking out of dodge completely fine.
What a god. He calculated specifically, right? So we go exactly on that edge and he could just leap back in. Not even Stomanin could calculate that. What incredible Snake. Just this Mirana. The lane for the Bat is not going as well as he'd love though, because laning against Drow is not that easy. You can't really counter her. It's really in the mid game when you start becoming successful. So maybe 3-3 won't be able to go for the... I mean, it depends. If they make him some stacks, perhaps he can still deviate into like the Boots of Trowel Bat Rider. Sometimes it feels a bit greedy when you're playing the offlane Bat Rider to go for that, especially if you have no, you only have like a single stack here. We'll see. Because sometimes Blink Dagger is just a necessity early to catch the Drow. SSA in trouble, super slow. SSA is dead, like really dead. Oh, he's spinning a fair amount though.
Yeah, it's good damage, just making sure he can do at least as much damage before he goes out. D-Ward for D-Ward, so no one's going to have good vision here in this top area. It's kind of funny to see them both contest the cliff spots. A lot of the times I see the Dire team like to put a ward that kind of watches over the tier 1 tower, but no one deciding to go for that one here this time around. Instead wanting to just watch over the stacks. I think that makes a lot of sense. Bat Rider, of course, no matter what his first item is, whether it's the BOTs, whether it's the Blink Dagger, maybe he's going to go a little funky and go for a first item BKB, right? He needs to farm it, and the only way Bat Rider can realistically do that is by getting these stacks. So I think that's just the right move to make. Focus, a bit slowed now, Snaking with the arrow at the ready, will be caught. Tornado's going to miss, but Focus is going to be dead nonetheless. Snaking alive as well here on 30 HP. So Spartan is going to be next to go, as 9 is going to get 2 for his troubles. Nice 2 for 1 there, huge. Even getting the earn charges.
So in this game, obviously, the ideal build... Oh, Wish? You're not going to kill him, are you, Fata? He's waiting for the refraction to drop. Oh, he stole the creep! Fata, you sneaky man. First is Snaking stealing creeps, now it's Fata. This whole team is just licking chips left, right, and center. But what I like about Tundra's rotation is that obviously the best build is BOTs every single time. I'm just suggesting Blink if that really falls off. But BOTs is almost always ideal, and this game it certainly is. So if Invoker can rotate and secure some of your farm that way, if you can get that help so you can actually free farm, if you can slow down the game or control the tempo through your mid laner rather than through your off laner, then I think you can fulfill that role. And then, Terrorblade, the draft also mentioned how he's pretty strong if he gets meta relatively early, can push against a tower. Oh, wow. But he has pretty... In this patch, pretty poor win rate against Drow Ranger, because as the panel said, he does struggle in the late game. She will eventually outscale him, so you have to play a bit more tempo, which is what the Invoker and Bat Rider are for.
It's, you know, we casted lower division in Eastern Europe for both seasons. Season number 1, of course, with Bates, we had RDO, and RDO, a prolific, you know, Terrorblade picker. I recall a certain team fight exchange. I don't remember who Bait was playing, but basically, the poor TB, late game, mind you, just basically got 3-shot by a Drow Ranger. There's just nothing you can do really once you get to that point. You got really close to just about equal range. She goes through all of your armor, and it's not a fun time. So that's where 33 comes in, though, right? That's why it's not just a 1v1 game in the late game, despite what your hard carry may say. It's important to have plenty of other answers, right? And you can buy money, or you can buy items and try and itemize your way around it. But this one is pretty set in stone. Drow Ranger, if you go toe to toe with the TB, probably 5 times out of 6, Drow's going to be standing at the end of the day.
Yeah, the only answer you really have, it was against Hustlers. Fata, careful, he might just die here with the Shadow Poison. One more stack is what he's looking for. Fata will avoid it, so he's going to be safe. The option you have, of course, we have seen a couple of people. There was actually a massive post about this back when this happened. We were casting that game, which is you can buy AC as opposed to Butterfly, right, on Terrorblade. Give you that base that armor, because obviously TB only, or Drow's marksmanship only goes to base armor, not through added armor. So that's a solution if you want to just expand your window a bit. But at best, you're only expanding your window opportunity by like 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 at best. But you're not going to be able to beat her in a late game anyway. So it still isn't like the game changer that you're looking for as TB.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, like, we still have other issues, right? Plenty of magic damage out from a Viper, even if it is a position 5, right? We're not expecting him to scale as 33 did last game. Plenty of pure damage on the Timber Saw. Sure, we've got a Bat Rider to hopefully at least kind of stifle his game, but he's still going to be a threat, and plenty of damage as well, of course, from Stomana on the Magic Burst if he can get it stacked up. So it's there are no real great answers here at the end of the day. For Skitter, there's no one perfect item, so I'm eager to see how they're going to look to try and play around this and address this issue. So far, I mean, a 2K net worth lead. Nothing huge, but it's the start of something good here for Tundra, especially as they were able to ruin a couple of jungle camps for Brame.
It's pretty big when that 2K, first of all, is reflected partially in your Murano, somehow has matched the core, like the net worth value of most cores, and also when Timbersaw is looking like a creep. Like, he has 2K net worth. This is not the start you wish for a Timbersaw. And they made a point to this, again, of the panel. I mean, I keep going back to them because I feel like they predicted the whole game, but if Brame actually snowballs and they play this really well, like, it doesn't really matter. They lack stuns to really initiate with, and Timbersaw can just go in with his massive body and tank all the damage and force Brame to win the fight. But if you don't get the early game that you're required, Timbersaw can't do that, and it's easy for Tundra to control the tempo of the game. As we're seeing here, Skylark desperately running away from a Terrorblade and a Bat.
Yeah, he's not enjoying life, is he? He is
no.
a bit in, again, a second game in a row for Skylark where he's, again, struggling out of the laning stage. A smoke play this time from Brame. They're bringing 3 over. It's both supports, of course, as they're going to attempt to try and find a kill. Fata is going to be the first one they find. He's got a Photic Shield, though, so he is not going to be too easy to catch. And Moonlight Shadow is going to force Brame back because they don't know what waits behind in the Fog of War.
Yeah, I mean, Brame, your hunting squad is just not that strong, right? What do you set up with? You go like Disruption, Viper sets up Nether Toxin, and you spit on the person until they die. I mean, Timbersaw can maybe put his body, but without even a Hooded Defiance, it doesn't seem too great. You know,
I mean, at least he's got Chakram now. He's got Chakram.
Yeah, I mean, he deals damage, but he's not going to tank anything, and Mirana has more farm than Drow, dude. This should not be happening. Snaking has been literally stealing creeps all game long, and that's all he's had to do. I mean, of course it's an expensive Fata, who has no farm here. You can't Photic Shield yourself on Demonic Purge. He does have the Borrowed Time, though, so he's going to be fine.
Yep.
And yeah.
I mean, are we surprised, though, that Snaking is being this effective in his jungling tactics, right? And his, like, kind of pillaging, we should call it. He is the jungler, right? This is one of the few people in the current patch that plays at this level who will just go into the jungle.
I mean, I think he was just looking at last game. He's like, guys, did you see my performance last game? Do I really deserve to be 4? I think I deserve to be bumped up a few positions. Like, I pretty much carried you guys. The team's like, well, I mean, I don't know. Well, so now he's playing Mirana, and he's gonna carry the game for us. Let's see Stomana.
Arrow.
For us being
for Skylark.
Tundra, by the way.
Got him. Yeah, that's already a vessel for 9. Skylark, you can run. Can you hide? Can you heal? He can. He's alive. But my goodness, does he really desperately want this Hooded Defiance up? And that was just that tornado setup we were talking about. 9. He's got Sunstrike. It's a pretty low level. I don't think this is gonna. Oh, Soul Ring was used. This would be quite a good guess.
No.
Okay.
He's not gonna die to this Sunstrike. I mean, you could try, but at this point, I feel like Brame. Well, I don't know if you can initiate onto 9.
Okay,
Alright,
but
with the
behind,
TPs,
focus.
Demonic Purge first. Yeah, they have a couple people helping him out though. 9. Tornado, deafening blast first. TP, but he's disarmed him. However, Disruption will stop the TP from completing. 9. Tornado to get a bit more space, but he's gonna die to Wish's damage. Wish, who's the only like truly farmed hero from Brame, and actually has gotten some really decent item progression. He might be the person that Brame can play around in the following minutes.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures.
I mean, they have to play around something, right? Because they're about to lose their last tier 1 tower, and
Yeah, and that's Wish.
this is already
That's
starting
Wish.
to look like one of those games where as soon as you lose all 3 of your lanes, there's just nothing in your draft meant to really withstand this, right? It's starting to feel just awful. Maybe a kill here is going to be good onto the TB, but it's Skylark. What can he do? They don't have stuns. They want to run at enemies. As soon as they just run away, they've got nothing to keep them in place.
I will say, to be fair, despite the fact that you don't have, you're right, you don't have stuns to get pickoffs, right? But you do have pretty decent dead laners in general with Timber Saw and Shadow Demon, right? You have solid core-to-core matchups and 2 good mid-game power spikes in the Drow and the TA that deal decently with TP and Volker, even if Bat is still a big nuisance. You even have a way to deal with Bat with Disruption, right? So, yeah, it's difficult for you to set the tempo of the game, but it's not entirely gone if you can just force the enemy to fight. And especially if Tundra makes mistakes, you definitely have ways to punish it. So, I wouldn't say it's looking that dire just yet. It's just looking good for Radiant.
Okay, okay. I will very quickly just, you know, bounce off of that by saying that Snaking is now out-farmed Focus by a couple of 100 gold. Focus is about to change this as we speak, as he is
but Snaking
getting the
is
Yasha.
second. He's second in his team's net worth. He's out farming his own Bat Rider and his own Invoker. This does not count. This is not fair because you're taking farm away from your own cores here, Snaking. I mean, his build is great though for this game. Mech into Yols for his own setup.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, and I mean he's just all around the map. That's something that he does really well when he does play these junglers, whether it be the Veno or the Enigma. I think are the only 2 I've really seen him on consistently. Hold that thought mid lane. They're going to look for the arrow setup out from the Tornado. A little bit late, unfortunately. Not able to find anyone. Fata behind enemy lines though is in a bit of a rough spot. Disruption to waste a little bit more of this borrowed time. Fata, all he can do is just turn and ask for a high 5. Instead, receives a big old meld strike out from Wish, and that'll put him down.
Okay, that seemed like a bad play by Fata, but actually really smart what he did there because he forced the mid-team to go on him. Otherwise, he was going to initiate, of course. They get a free kill, but that allowed it terribly to finish off the tower that was really close anyway. So it got you the space that we were talking about. Certainly more valuable than a Fata with 1,800 gold.
Oh, Timber Saw.
If
Oh
you
no,
can catch
33.
Skylark too. Yeah, they have the lasso. They use it right as the Timber Chain comes out. That's so Skylark can see the hope of escaping and it extinguished right in front of his eyes.
It's an arrow. It's going to not catch Spartan here, so at least Brame, they won't lose any heroes in the mid lane, but they're not going to be able to get really anything out of return. In fact, Skitter just immediately into the enemy jungle. Kind of going off the same mentality that I was about to commend Snaking for, is that when he does play these junglers, and I'll include Morana in this just so slightly because of this game he's doing the same thing. He plays junglers in the enemy jungle, which is something that's really annoying because then you force your supports to go and get rid of them. You can't really let someone take all your jungle farm like that, especially if you can boot them easily, because it just ruins your course games. Jungling is a pretty, huge aspect of the game currently, along with Roche. But for better or for worse, if you've got someone who can just take, stacks and ruin the efficiency in the enemy jungle, like Snaking has, it's a really hard game to recover from for Brame.
To add to that, it's especially important if you're dire. You have currently usually considered the better triangle. Your jungle is also easier to defend. So usually you can take a good advantage of your jungle before the jungle swaps come out, right? So usually you actually do farm out the jungle quite decently. Your camps are slightly closer together as well, so they're a bit more efficient. There's a lot of advantages being dire right now. That Snaking is just taken away from you. And we were harping on this guy, but he's had just 2 really solid games, honestly.
Bottom?
Brave,
Another
they do
lasso.
find Fata, but it's just the Fata kill. Bottom might be a bit more important as they're going for Timber Saw yet again, and Skylark desperately trying to recover, actually got stopped. But I think that was 3-3, right? Who put the tree there? No. Who put the tree there? Was he? Did he put it himself?
It might have been 33 there. Hold on, let me check the
It was
recap. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who put the tree. There is an empty slot missing for 33. It might have been him, but no one's got the Ironwood tree, so I can't be certain, unfortunately. But hey, good pick off there. Again, just punishing Skylark, just like last game, and unlike last game for Skylark, it's not going to get better when you get this first item, right? Once we had the Ags online, the game shifted fundamentally for Skylark. No one really was too interested in running him down because he had this Dispel, he had this magic immunity, and he had his team playing around him. This time he's Gonna just have to kind of keep doing this. You can see he's just gonna keep marching back down into the bottom lane.
Dire's middle tower.
All right, let's see
Tundra,
Tundra. Dominate the enemy jungle, trying to finish off focus. This is the end of what they already started with Stinky's plays. They go for the TA first. There's a good lasso, but there's no follow-up just yet. There's the arrow. Okay, that's going to be all the follow-up you need. Arrow sets up for the kill. Wish is dead, and that's the most important hero on Brame right now. This sets up for Roshan. Yep, with meta.
Yeah, it's going to be relatively easily. Snaking just lining up the max duration arrow. He's got it. You already know he does. He's already got a Yule Scepter and a mech. He's finally been overtaken by the rest of the cores in the game, and so, except, of course, minus Skylark. But this is going to be a very early Roshan, especially compared to last game, and Brame didn't really do much about it. They're not in fighting shape, least of all versus a level 4 Metamorphosis with Alacrity that Skitter's already punching with.
Yeah, and despite your core-to-core matchup eventually being good, you have to get to that point, right? So the window opportunity right now for Tundra is wide open, and Terribly is a force to be reckoned with. Drow doesn't still have enough damage or enough survivability, really, because that's what she has to use against the TB to be able to burst them down and deal with the Invoker, Bad Rider harassing her. I mean, even if she gets caught by a Yule Scepter from the Mirana, she's pretty much dead, right? Just arrow her once and she's done for.
Focus is getting closer to that first item, though. At the very least, he's making really great progress on that Manta style. That's going to be not the point of inflection I think you were speaking about, but it is a good one. Wish now with Blink on top of the Deso and the Dragon Lance does provide a bit of more kill threat to the team, as unfortunately here goes Skylark up in the Tornado from the Yule Scepter. He's got plenty, actually only 10 reactive armor stacks, and they're not doing much because of the Vessel. He might just tick down to it. No, he's alive on a hair of HP. So at least this time he will not go down, but if we look back down bottom, Focus has been just cut off by Skitter. He's going to close the door on him and just run him down, even in melee form. 33 gets the kill back towards the mid lane. Then 9 is left completely alone. 33 is going to join him with the BOTs, but not much he could do by that stage. And actually Wish jumping forward might have thought about going for 33, but 33 says, yeah, you sure about that? Might even decide to go back in. Blink Dagger in 3, he's got Lasso.
Yeah, he's considering it. May just go try to kill Wish, but your other teammates are not too strong. Disruption is actually killing Fata. Run, Fata! Your teammate wants to kill you. This is a nightmare for a support. He's helped his core farm so much. He should have done just like snaking, right? And stolen the Terrablade's farm. Because now he's killing him. It just sucks to be 5. And snaking's too strong, though. He's stronger than Timber, so I don't think he minds Timber trying to chase after him. That team fight did go decently for Brame. I mean, yeah, you lost focus in the bottom lane, but you got an Invoker in exchange. Since you want to elongate this game as much as possible, it's fine. It's just that Skitter's looking a bit too scary right now. Oh, Spartan, what are you doing? Oh, Spartan. I don't think that's where you should be. He's trying to defend, but he's a position 5 Viper with no escape mechanisms, which means he's dead.
I'm a little bit surprised he even bothered turning around and taking the 2 or 3, flaps of his wings, because he was not going anywhere there with that 70% turn rate slow applied. Just, at least create space for this push down bottom. Be careful though, Focus might be in for a bad spot. Blink Dagger at the ready, snaking. He did not connect onto the arrow. Skylark is here. It's going to be the Yule Scepter out from him as Skitter now continues to give chase. It looks like instead they're just going to aim for Skylark as Focus is able to at least evade this fight. We're going to have to leave Skylark then high and dry as he is going to be picked down by the Metamorphosis of Skitter.
Yeah, I mean, I said in the when we started the game that maybe your ideal target for Lasso is not Timber, but if Timber's made out of paper, then yes, go ahead, right? Do kill him. He's a freebie at this point. Obviously, they wanted focus, but a little bit of a miscommunication there. You flame breaked out of the arrow setup, but it's okay. If you can catch Wish, though, this would still be ideal. Wish, there's the Yule, set up for the arrow, just slightly, a bit of a stun. They can slow him down with a Scotty. Now Wish, second charge of Refraction, not gonna help him enough, and that's gonna be Wish dying.
Yeah, the game is just really difficult from here. Like, if the game was a little bit more even at this stage and we were looking at a late game fight, maybe that's when you don't want to just lasso the Timber Saw. But the way you want to just play around a TB when he's this big, hold that thought, we might just fight here. Or Spartan is just going to die to the Conjure Images. There's going to be the Reflection, doing a fair amount. He's going to get up to the high ground at least. These are pretty tanky illusions.
Oh, no,
no! Sunstrike is going to pick him off. Now, Skylark left behind. He's going absolutely nowhere. Gets at least a little Timber Chain off, but he's cut down there by Snaking. It's 3 dead for Brame. It's going to be another tier 2 tower taken down in favor of Tundra, and they're already TPing the Bat Rider down bottom to get ready for that tier 2 push bottom. It's really the best way. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel bad for Spartan, but watching a Viper struggle this much as a Dota player brings me a certain kind of joy that I can't really explain. I mean, he's just dead every single time.
Yeah.
And he's playing like Spartan usually plays, where he tries to make plays that are risky and waste the enemy's time. But then he realizes, oh, I'm a slow, lumbering, spinning object. I do nothing. He's using smoke this time. You think it's for the smoke surprise, but it's actually the movement speed beats. He's gonna find someone. He's leading the charge as well in Spartan style. He might just be able to kill the Abaddon. They disrupted Skitter as well. Demonic Purge. Fata will die, and they do accomplish it. Alright. Spartan's happy. He's done it. He killed the opposing 5.
Yeah,
it's a start.
And Invoker right now without a Vessel charge somehow, I'm not really sure how he ended up in this current position, is not really going to be too hard of a counter currently to Skylark. Can't quite solo kill him. He's going to need a +1 in that regard. Working out pretty nicely for them. Yeah, I think there's a lot of catharsis in this game. I think a lot of us have got some pretty bad Timber, problems or games as well. This is another one where, unfortunately for Skylark, he is taking quite the beating as in goes Snake King. Just farming. Look how casually he's farming the waves here. Yeah, they're going to try and maybe kill him. Snake King is completely alone. Skylark was checking the high ground. Like, what is this, Spartan? Well, this guy's all alone? Are you kidding me? And yeah, he's just going to TP away.
To be fair to Skylark, I think there's sometimes the product of how Brame plays. Because Brame plays with relatively greedy mid and carry, where they both kind of usually fulfill either a dual core or at least a semi-win condition. Wait, I'll table that point in a second because TA is in trouble. Which is going to die to the Scotty. Yeah, so because they usually are quite greedy, Skylark, whenever he's left in a position where he doesn't win his lane, he tends to struggle to get back online because he can't ever steal farm from his other 2 cores, right? Whereas you see Tundra, for a while, they let Snake King be the core, while Bat Rider kind of played aggressively, right? I don't think Skylark had that option. Again, there's more a philosophy than a criticism. It depends on how you think about Dota.
Oh,
but yeah, Skylark is struggling. He's gonna.
I mean,
yeah,
just to continue your point,
stops the Timber chain.
Look where he's taking
I think
farm.
he's dead.
It's incredible.
That's because he has to,
got
right?
Take
what else can he do?
Far.
Yeah. So that's my point. I feel like you can pinpoint the blame on Skylark, but it's a team effort to a degree. Oh, look at that. Tundra actually averaged the fewest tower kills in 20 minutes. Tundra is much more of a 4-1 kind of kill-oriented lineup, whereas Brame is the I'm gonna fight you to the death every single time lineup. And I think it shows. So when Skylark struggles in the early game, he struggles mostly the whole game. They're not a team that recovers by playing safe. They're a team that recovers by fighting more. In true SCA style, I would say.
Yeah, that's going to make things difficult to try and come back. I mean, Focus is already just, he's left to get whatever farm that is deemed safe enough. And for now, that's basically just whatever creep waves managed to get past the tier 2s or where they stood and start to get up to the high ground. It's not really a great position to be in. He's going to at least try and venture forward with the Manta Illusions into the jungle to try and find any farm, but there's nothing here, Avo. It's all been taken. Tundra are just, they're cleaning the plate here, so to speak, just taking everything on the map as they continue to extend their net worth lead to now 15K.
Tundra's a pretty good team at choking the enemy, and they're quite methodic about this approach. I guess because Fata's veterancy. So it's tough for Brave to just find farm this game in general. I think they're doing a pretty good job, even if they're dying as a result. At least they're making plays. I think Skylark is actually in trouble. Booker found him. Yeah, there we go. Yol Scepter. The man just wants to fly with his Timber Chain, but instead there's all these Yols and tornadoes and everything. Oh, poor Skylark. He just wants to hit the ground occasionally, but every time he hits it is because he's going underground and he's going to die.
Oh, Spartan's going to die back home here, and Wish is in a terrible spot. There's just a fire everywhere. Refraction cut through immediately. Focus being ran down, at least turning, getting the silence. Might have a kill here onto 9, but the Sunder out from Skitter to keep him safe. 33 now right on top of Focus. Arrow on top of the Tornadoes, only going to get hit and swept up by that Tornado. Fata even just looking to run down Focus, as the Illusions from Skitter are going to force him back. The Fortify's out from Brame. They don't have buyback from Wish. Fata is going to get the ulti triggered on him thanks to the tier 3 tower, which is now dead already.
Yeah, we take the racks with this, I think. I mean, you don't have Sunder, but your meta should last long enough where you just at least take the racks. There we go. Yeah, he's still looking for the kill on Focus. 3-3 wants it. Hurricane Pie kind of was baited, but the arrow will hit, and that's going to be Focus dead. Spartan, the tornado will hit despite the flame break. You'll have to at least protect him a bit, but the illusions might just deal with Spartan. That's going to be the last illusion hit, finishing him off. And go even further, Brame. They send Porstom on him flying, and that's going to be yet another death in favor of Tundra. They even send Skylark out of the base, but they don't have the tools to finish him off. Doesn't really matter as long as you can take the towers here. Brame is in a really bad position.
Yep. That's as these guys went against each other in the three-way tiebreaker towards the end of season number 2. Tundra showing how they can be a little bit of OG, just stopping themselves though at the base of the enemy fountain, not going for any dives in this game, instead prioritizing buildings because they already have all the tier 2 towers. They've already taken care of your tier 3 bottom and the lane of barracks. It's now only the tier 3 top, which is already crumbled, and now the lane of barracks left between you and the Megas. And Skylark, he's not standing for much longer. Focus, trying to get some fire onto Fata. Fata just, standing his ground, very happy just to get the ulti triggered there for more HP. Skylark forced back by the flame break into the lasso. He is taken down. Focus, trying to defend the barracks, but helplessly, none of the multi-shot arrows are doing just a darn thing. 9 pushing back Wish with the disarm. Also catching Focus with that. They just have to let him go, Avo.
Yeah, and Tundra wants to continue putting the pressure. They know Brave is honestly really close to dying, and they might just want to put the last nail on the coffin here.
On the last
as they go for Focus. There's the ice wall. Focus, where are you going, buddy? Where are you going? Stay here and play. And Focus, unfortunately, does not like this game. He's going to die first, as Spartan finally found a kill here. No, Thunder's going to prevent that. Spartan having no fun whatsoever. Poor man just dies. Wish at least trying to get the kill on 3-3, and we'll accomplish it. Now going for 9 next, but Wish, there's a Heaven's Halberd. Wish you're not going to be able to kill 9. Wish you might be in trouble yourself. They want to slow him down somehow. The disruption. Seems like at least Brame is holding their own despite the Maya creeps, so at least they get the kills they need. Ever going to make a comeback? I don't know. I'm trying to hype this up, but I do feel like this is very difficult for them.
It's difficult, right? I mean, you got the Bat Rider, you got Fata, that's not bad. But you've also got now Megas already pouring into your base here in the mid lane at 30 minutes in. Wish he can take care of them, right? Psyblades are gonna do well to at least make sure that you're not going to lose all your buildings immediately. But Timbersaw's not yet level 15. He doesn't have this reactive armor talents, which makes life a little bit difficult for him when he's trying to actually take care of things. So I think Brame are going to look just for a super YOLO Roshan play. I don't even know if they can finish this fast enough because they're going to lose the base super quickly. Arrow's going to find Skylark. There's going to be a Sunstrike on top. The buyback out from 33. Skylark getting killed off by Roche. Gets off the Essence Ring. It's Snake King who's going to try and finish up the kill. Skitter nearby as well, interrupting the party in the Roshan pits. And it's going to be Tundra just thanking Brame for getting Roche this low. 33 has even found Focus now with the Flaming Lasso. 9 to close the gap. Snake King was there as well. And it's going to be then Tundra straight back into the base, slamming the door shut on Brame in this game. And number 2 as the GG well played is called. It's going to be Tundra getting a 2-0 win. Just like, well, repeating their tiebreaker performance here for the 3 games in a row versus Brame.
Yep. I mean, Brame, these guys, at least 2 of their team, Spartan and Skylark,